Good morning to all. Welcome to the concept series. Today we are continuing with another chapter, that is New Empires and Kingdoms, chapter number 10 of class 6 history. So let's get started. If you haven't watched the previous lectures of the chapters, please go and watch on our YouTube channel. So let's start. The chapter number 10, New Empires and Kingdoms. Arvind plays a king. Arvind had been chosen to act as a king in the school play. Okay, he had expected to march solemnly in splendid robes. Robes mean carpets. Okay, to twirl his mustache and wield a silver paper wrapped sword with gusto. Gusto mean pride. Okay, imagine his surprise when he was told he would also have to sit and play a veena and recite poetry. A musician king. Who was that? He wondered. See, the Arvind was surprised because he thought that the kings will only fight, have mustache, have splendid palaces, and will be man-hearted. But he surprised when he would also ask to sit and play veena. He thought, who is that king who play? Um, who is a musician king and recite poetry? Okay, so let's see who is they talking about. Who is the musician king in this story? Prashastis and what they tell us. Arvind was supposed to be acting as a Samudragupta. He, a famous ruler of a dynasty known as Gupta dynasty. We know about Samudragupta from a long inscription inscribed on the Ashokan pillar at Allahabad, nowadays Prayagraj. It was composed as Kavya by Harishen, who was a poet and a minister at the court of Samudragupta. Please underline this. Harishen was a poet and a minister at the court of Samudragupta who composed as a Kavya on the Ashokan pillar about the Samudragupta. Okay. So Samudragupta is the king. Samudragupta is the king of that plays a veena and recite poetry. A musician king he was. Okay. This inscription is a special the kind known as a Prashasti, a Sanskrit word meaning in praise of. So plain land is also meaning of Prashasti can come a Sanskrit phrase praise Sanskrit word meaning in praise of. Okay. While Prashasti were composed for some of the rulers you read about in chapter 9, such as Gautamiputra Sri Satkarni, okay, they become far more important from the time of the Guptas. So they are telling that these Prashasti was composed for some rulers like Gautamiputra Sri Satkarni, but they become very important for the Guptas. Samudragupta and Prashasti. Let us see what Samudragupta's Prashasti tell us. The poet praised the king in glowing terms as a warrior, as a king who won victories in battle, who was learned and best of poets. He also describes equal to gods. Mean they are describing the Samudragupta in a Prashasti. The Prashasti was composed in very long sentences. Here is a part of one such sentence. Okay? So, Samudragupta was, this is a Prashasti of Samudragupta, whose body was most charming, being covered with a plenteous beauty of the marks of hundreds of scars by battle axes, arrows, spears, barbed darts, swords, iron clubs, javelins, barbed arrows, long arrows, and many other weapons. So they are describing the Samudragupta whose body is full of the marks of the war weapons. Okay, so if you look at map 7 page 105, you will notice an area shaded in green. You will also find a series of red dots along the east coast, and you will find areas marked in purple and blue as well. This map is based on information provided in the Prashasti. Harishen describes 4 different kinds of rulers and tells us about the Samudragupta's policies towards them. So, in the Prashasti, 4 rulers are described and Samudragupta policies towards them. These 2 images are given. King who played the veena. Some other qualities of Samudragupta are shown on coins such as this one, where he is showing playing the veena. Okay, so this is the veena. So he is playing the veena. Okay, here veena is described. Now, The rulers of Aryavarta. The rulers of Aryavarta, the area of shaded green on the map. Here there were 9 rulers who were uprooted and their kingdoms were made part of Samudragupta's empire. The ruler of Dakshinapatha, the route that led to the south. Here there were 12 rulers, some of which whose capital are marked with red dots. They surrendered to Samudragupta after being defeated, and he then allowed them to rule again. Okay, so this question can come: what were the policies of Samudragupta towards the rulers as described in the Prashasti by Harishen? So this question can come. It has very more chances. The inner circle of neighboring states, including Assam, coastal Bengal, Nepal, a number of Gansangs in northwest marked in purple on the map. Please subsequently see the map also, because this question will only be learned through seeing the map. Okay, they brought tributes to follow his orders and attend his court. Whose court? Samudragupta's court. The ruler of the outlying areas marked in blue on the map, perhaps the descendants of the Kushanas and Shakas, the ruler of the Sri Lanka, please underline this, who submitted to him to Samudragupta and offered daughters in marriage. Okay, so find Prayag, the old name for Allahabad, Ujjain, and Patliputra, Patna. You have to find the Prayagraj, Ujjain, and Patliputra. So here is Prayag, here is Ujjain, and here is Patliputra. On the map, these are important centers of Gupta rulers. Please underline this also. What was the difference between the way in which Samudragupta treated the rulers of Aryavarta and Dakshinapatha? Please underline this. The difference is that Samudragupta occupied the region of Aryavarta and ruled by himself and overthrew the Aryavarta kingdom. But in Dakshinapatha, in contrast, in Dakshinapatha, Samudragupta occupied that land, but occupied that land from their 12 rulers, but again allowed them to rule on that area. So this is the difference. So now, before proceeding further, I want to tell you about the Dhruv Rathi's AI Masterclass. If you want to learn the basics of AI, then how to actually use it for real work and even advanced stuff, that's why Dhruv Rathi's AI Masterclass is super useful. And since seats are limited, go check out on academy.dhruvrathi.com right now. It teaches practical AI skills, then takes you from beginner to advanced. That's why I make Dhruv Rathi AI Masterclass so useful. So please go and check out. Now let's get back to our topic. Genealogies. Most Prashastis also mention the ancestors of the ruler. This one mentions Samudragupta's great grandfather, father, and mother. His mother, Kumara Devi, belonged to Licchavi Gana, while his father, Chandragupta, was the first ruler of the Gupta dynasty, adopted the grand title of Maharaja Adhiraj, a title that Samudragupta also used. His great grandfather and grandfather are mentioned simply as Maharajas. It seems as if the family gradually rose to importance. So this is very most important paragraph. Vikram Samvat. The era beginning in the 58 BCE is traditionally associated with the Gupta king Chandragupta II, who had founded it as a mark of victory over the Shakas and assumed the title of Vikramaditya. Okay, so this is also important. How did the Chandragupta II assume the title of Vikramaditya? Arrange these titles in order of importance: Raja, Maharaja, Adhiraj, and Maharaja. So you can do this yourself. Samudragupta in turns figures in the genealogies list of ancestors of later rulers of the dynasty, such as his son Chandragupta II. We know that him about inscriptions and coins. He led an expedition to western India where he overcame the last of the Shakas. According to the later belief, his court was full of learned people, about some of them whom we will read in the chapter 11. Chapter name is Building Paintings and Books. Harshvardhan and Harshcharitra While we can learn about the Gupta rulers from their inscriptions and coins, we can find about some kings from the biographies. I told earlier meaning of the biographies. Harshvardhan, who ruled nearly 1400 years ago, was one such ruler. His court poet Banabhatt wrote his biography, the Harsha Charitra, in Sanskrit. This gives us the genealogy of Harsha and ends with his becoming king. So this is the biography wrote by the Banabhatt. Please underline this in Sanskrit. And the name of the biography is Harsha Charitra. Zhuangzang, about whom we read in the chapter 9, was a Chinese traveler. Let me tell you again. Also spent a lot of time at Harshvardhan's court and left a detailed account of what he saw. Harsha was not the eldest son of his father, but becoming the king of Thanisa after both his father and elder brother died. His brother-in-law was ruler of Kannauj and he was killed by the ruler of Bengal. Harsha took over the kingdom of Kannauj and led an army against the ruler of Bengal. Okay, so when the Harsha's brother-in-law was killed, who was the ruler of Kannauj, and he was killed by the ruler of Bengal. Then the Harshvardhan took the rule of Kannauj and attack on the ruler of Bengal. Although he was successful in the east and conquered Magadh and probably Bengal also, he was not as successful elsewhere. He tried to cross the Narmada to march into Deccan, but was stopped by a ruler belonging to Chalukya dynasty, Pulakeshin II. This is very important. The question can come, MCQ can come. Pulakeshin II belongs to which dynasty? So this is Chalukya, and please don't get confused with Chalukya and Chanakya. This is Chalukya dynasty. And the south was Mohendas, Chola, Chera, Pandya. These are not Mohendas, Chalukya. Okay. The Pallavas, Chalukyas and Pulakeshins persisted. The Pallavas and Chalukyas were the most important ruling dynasty in South India during this period. The kingdom of the Pallavas spread from the region around the capital, Kanchipuram, underline this, to Kaveri Delta, while that of Chalukyas was centered around the Raichur Doab between the river Krishna and Tungabhadra. MCQ can come from here also. Raichur Doab is located between which two rivers? Okay. Aihole, the capital of Chalukyas, was an important trading center. It developed as a religious center with a number of temples. Pallava and Chalukyas frequently raided one another's land, especially attacking the capital cities, which were prosperous towns. The best known Chalukya ruler was Pulakeshin II, who stopped Harshvardhan from conquering Deccan. We know about him a Prashasti, composed by his court poet Ravi Kirti. Underline this. See, don't get confused with the court poets, okay? All rulers have court poets and 3 of them are mentioning this chapter only. So you have to learn court poets belong to which ruler, okay? This tells us about his ancestors who traced back through 4 generations from father to son. Pulakeshin evidently got the kingdom from his uncle. Underline this also. According to Ravi Kirti, he led expeditions along the both west and east coast, Pulakeshin II. Besides, he checked the advance of Harshvardhan. There is an interesting play of words in the poem. Harsh means happiness, okay? The poet said that after this defeat, Harsh was no longer Harsh. Pulakeshin also attacked the Pallava king who took shelter behind the walls of Kanchipuram. But the Chalukya victory was short-lived. Ultimately, both the Pallavas and Chalukyas gave way to new rulers belonging to the Rashtrakutas, a new dynasty, and Chola dynasty, about which we read in the we will read up in the class 7th. How were these kings administrated? Now they are giving the administrating of the kingdoms. As in the case of earlier kings, land revenue remained important. Okay, land revenue remained important for these rulers, and the village remained the basic unit of administration. These were some new developments as well. There were some new developments as well. King adopted a number of steps to win the support of men who were powerful, either economically or socially, or because of their political and military strength. For instance, some important administrative posts were now hereditary. This means that sons succeeded fathers to these posts. Means the posts are also hereditary. For example, the poet Harishen was a Mahadanda Nayaka or chief judicial officer like his father. Underline this also. Sometimes one person held many offices. For instance, besides being a Mahadandanayak, Harisena was a Kumar Amatya, meaning an important minister, and a Sandhi Vigrahaka, a minister of war and peace. Besides, important men probably had say in local administration, means has an influence. Say meaning influence, okay, in local administration. These including the Nagara, Shreshthi or chief banker or merchant of the city, and the Sarthvaha or leader of the caravans. See, from these 3 points, you can get the matching that Mahandanda Nayak was, and you have to match if it's chief judicial officer or a minister of war and peace or chief banker, okay, or a leader of caravans. Likewise, you can come Sarthvaha meaning, Shreshthi meaning, Sandhi Vigrahika meaning, Kumar Amatya meaning. So you have to learn these, okay. Now, the Prathama Kulika or the chief craftsman, this one more name came, and the head of the Kayasthas or scribes. These policies were reasonably effective, but sooner or later, some of these powerful men grew strong enough to set them in independent kingdoms, a new kind of army. Like earlier rulers, some of these kings maintained a well-organized army with elephants, chariots means of bullocks with horses, okay, cavalry and foot soldiers. Besides, there were military leaders who provided the king with troops. See, before the invasion of the Babur and the Mughals, in the Indian rulers, there was no use of cannons. They only fight with the bow and arrows, okay. They were not paid regular salaries. Instead, some of them received grants of land. They collected revenue from the land and used just to maintain soldiers, horses, and provide equipment for warfare. These men were known as Samantas. Very important to underline this. Whenever the ruler was weak, Samantas tried to become independent. Assemblies in the southern kingdom. The inscription of the Pallavas mention a number of local assemblies. These included the Sabha, which was assembly of Brahman landowners. This assembly functioned through subcommittee which looked after irrigation, agriculture operations, making roads and local temples, etc. The Ur was a village assembly found in areas where the landowners was not Brahmans. Please understand this. Ur was a village assembly found in areas where the landowners were not Brahmans. And the Nagaram was an organization of merchants. It is likely that these assemblies were controlled by rich and powerful landowners and merchants. Many of these local assemblies continued to function for centuries. Ordinary people in the kingdom. We can catch an occasional glimpse of the lives of ordinary people from plays and other accounts. Let us look at some of these. Kalidas is known for his plays depicting life in the king's court. An interesting feature about these plays is that king and most Brahmins are shown speaking Sanskrit, the language of the elite, and the Prakrit was the local language, while women and men other than the king and Brahmins use Prakrit. I told earlier. His most famous play, Abhigyana Shakuntalam, is the story of the love between a king named Dushyanta and a young woman named Shakuntala. We find an interesting depiction of the plight of a poor and fisherman in this play. A fisherman finds ring. A fisherman found a precious ring which the king had given to Shakuntala, but which had been accidentally swallowed by a fish. When he went to palace with it, the gateman accused him of theft, and the chief police officer was rather rude. However, the king was happy when he saw the ring and sent a reward for the fisherman. Then the police officer and the gateman decided to take a share of the reward and went along with the fisherman to have a drink. So, the Chinese pilgrim Faya noticed the plight of those who were treated as untouchables by the high and mighty. They were expected to live in the outskirts of the city, outside at the boundaries of the city. He writes, if such a man enters a town or marketplace, he strikes a piece of wood in order to keep himself separate. People hearing this sound know what it means and avoid touching him or brushing him against him. And brushing means collapsing, okay? And Banabhat provides us with a vivid picture of the king's army on the move. So this is literary source of by Banabhat. You can read this on your own. So our chapter has ended here. So now let's recall the true false. Harisen composed a Prashasti in praise of Gautami Putra Sri Satkarni. False. So Harisen did not created a Prashasti for in praise of Gautami Putra Sri Satkarni. So first is false. Second, the rulers of Aryavard brought tribute for the Samudragupta. This is false. Okay. There were 12 rulers in Dakshinapatha. This is true. The Takshashila and Madurai were important centers under the control of the Gupta rulers. Madurai. No, Madurai not. So, false. Aihole was the capital of Pallavas. Aihole was the capital of Chalukya. So, this is also false. So, most of them are false. Local assemblies functioned for several centuries in South India. This is true. So, now true false is completed. Mention 3 authors who wrote about the Harshvardhan. So, please try to give the answers in the comment section. So, what changes do you found in the army at this time? What are the new administrative arrangements? Okay. So, now some important dates. Beginning of the Gupta dynasty about 1700 years ago. The rule of Harshvardhan about 1400 years ago. So, this is the end of our lecture. Thank you for watching this lecture. Please try to give the answers of exercise in the comment section, NCERT exercise. If you have any queries, ask in the comment section only. Please, I have also given some extra question answers in the description box. Please try to solve these extra questions also. Please like and share this lecture and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to join the Dhruv Bhatti's AI Masterclass to enhance your AI. Thank you.